Madhu, you're on mute.
Om Badram Karnebihi Shrunyama Devaha Badram Pashyema Akshabihi Ryajatraha Sthirairangair Tushtuvam Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitai Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vridrashravaha Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha Swastina Tarksho Arishtanemihi Swastino Bruhaspatir Dadatu Om Shanti 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 Yo Antah Pravishya Mama Vacha Imam Prashuptam Sanjeevayati Akila Shakti Daraswadamna Anyam Shtahasta Charana Shravanatvagadin Pranan Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Lasatu Srimadananda Tirtendurno Hrudambare Yadvachaschandrika Swanta Santapam Vinikrantati Padavakya Pramana Jnan Pranamya Shirasa Gurun Vyakarishye Yata Bhutam Vishnu Tattva Vinirnayam. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to folks who have joined for the 25th part of Mundaka Upanishad. And this is amazing. We've been doing Mundaka Upanishad for about 8 months with a few interruptions here and there, but this has been almost a continuous contemplation of Mundaka Upanishad. And I think we are about 1/3 there. So that tells you the richness of this Upanishad. It's amazing philosophy that we are discussing here. So who is the Devata? Aksharanamaka, Paramatma, Atharva, Angirasa, Satyavaha, Angirasa, Shuanaka, and all the acharyas or the rishis and the chandas primarily is an Anushtup. We are in the Dvitiya Mundake, Pratama Kandaha. We are in the 7th verse. Tasmacha Devaha Bahuda Samprasutaha Sadhyaha Manushyaha Pashavo Vayamsi Prana Apano Bruhi Yavau Tapashcha Shraddha Satyam Brahmacharyam Vidishcha. So that is the verse. And it's as usual, it's a beautiful verse. And we've been kind of stationed here at this point, looking at the first half of this mantra in all its glories. It really opens up so many concepts of Sanatana Dharma that Angirasa is actually, imparting to Shuanaka and through Shuanaka to all of us. So what is that? So before we do that, the first 6 verses, what is it talking about? In this kanda, let's not forget, in this kanda, it's primarily talking about creation. Creation of various things. Yeah. Creation of the material universe, emergence of Tattva Abhimani Devatas, emergence of souls, emergence of Vedas, emergence of what are all the things that are there in the Vedas, and what are all the procedures and rituals and sacrifices, yajnas, and so on. They're all being created, right, in the universe. So that is what we have been discussing at this point. Nothing is random. Yeah, that is the key thing there. Whatever we do at this point of life, it is not a random thing. It's all been almost pre-designed. So I just want to open up today's discussion with a brief, contemplation amongst the satsang group as to when Vedavyasa in the 2nd sutra says Janmadhyasya yataha, and in the Dvitiya Mundake Pratama Padaha, Angirasa is talking so much about creation. We still got a few more verses to come. So there's so much being discussed about creation. So I think I thought it'll be useful for us to pause for a couple of minutes and then and ruminate with regards to why is this knowledge of the creatorship of Lord essential? Yeah, why don't we just say, okay, there is a supreme God, fine, we will worship him. But why is it that in our systems and also in many of the world philosophies, creatorship of the supreme is essential prerequisite for philosophical as well as spiritual progression? Why? Okay, so I just want to post this for our discussion. Why is the knowledge of the creatorship of the Lord is essential? So anybody wants to share their ideas here?
Can I have a little go with being completely naive?
Yeah, go for it.
If we know the way the universe is created and the way it is created, we would know the purpose and what purpose we may have been possibly advised to follow. So the moola for living the way the God intended to, or would be to know the purpose and the way it was created, basically. Sorry,
Thanks, Steve.
that's all.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you very much for that interesting insight. Anybody else wants to have a go at it as to why creatorship is important? Why the definition of Brahman is Janmadhyasya Yataha? Okay, no worries. So there are two key points. Raj, thanks very much for sharing your ideas. Absolutely relevant in this discussion. So the key primary ideas about why we need to know about the creatorship of the Paramatma is, you could say two things, yeah. There are so many other things, but at least think about two aspects of this. Okay. So if you think about a potter who makes the pot, he uses a clod of clay, and then he puts it on this wheel, and then he spins it, and then he creates a pot. Okay. For that whole thing to happen, think about the potter, who is the creator of the pot. The potter needs to know what is the volume of the clod of clay that he needs to use, what is the speed of the wheel, how is he going to place it, how he is going to use his fingers, and how is he going to make that pot, how is he going to dry it, how is he going to plain it, and all this. So you need to have knowledge, right? If you want to create something, you need to have a lot of knowledge to create anything. Even if it's baking a cake, you need to know about it. Okay? So that is the first thing, is about the omniscience. So if this God has created this stupendous universe, then we understand from our own mundane existence. Yeah. So nobody has seen God, nobody has seen him create this universe, but we understand through the Vedas that he is the creator, so that we can grasp whatever little that we can about his omniscience, that how Sarvajna he is, how omniscient he is, that he knows the recipe for creating the universe, and he knows exactly what needs to be done, how long it needs to last, and so on. So it gives you an idea of the omniscience of Paramatma. Okay, so that is one key idea. The other idea, of course, is for this for this Supreme Lord to create this universe, he must be an abode of infinite auspicious attributes. Okay, a Nirguna Brahman cannot create the universe. A superimposition that is being discussed in certain schools of Vedanta, where everything is a superimposition on this Nirguna Brahman who is zero, is not creation. Yeah, superimposition is not a creation. Superimposition of a silver on a conch shell is not the creation of the silver. Yeah, so those are all philosophical ideas that you want to think about. So it gives you the idea of the Sarva Gunapurna. He is Gunapurna. He is full of auspicious attributes. He is without defects. So that is one idea that we get. That is a primary definition of God in Vedic philosophy and Sanatana Dharma is he is Gunapurna Doshadura. That is full of auspicious attributes without defect. And by understanding and grasping the concept of creatorship of Brahman, we are able to grasp with our very finite capacity for knowledge, that we can appreciate the greatness of Paramatma. So that is the first thing. The other thing that we also understand is everything that is created in the universe is actually dependent on Paramatma. Okay, so there is nothing that is independent of him. Swatantram atswatantram cha dvividam tattvam ishyate swatantro Bhagavan Vishnuhu. That is the primary axiomatic truth of Sanatana Dharma. That Brahman is there. He is an independent being, full of attributes and no defects. All else are dependent on him. So those are the two key ideas that we need to understand when we have this contemplation of creatorship of Brahman. And of course, there are so many Upanishads, isn't it, that talk about, let's just pick Shvetashvata, no, Taittiriya Upanishad, Yato va imani bhutani jayanti, yena jatani jivanti, yat prayanti, abhishambhisanti, tad vijijnasasva tad brahmeti. And again, the same Taittiriya Upanishad gives the definition, isn't it? Brahmavid apnoti param tadesha abhyukta. Who is this? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. He is Satyam. And what does our Angirasa tell us again and again? Tadetat Satyam. Tadetat Satyam is what Angirasa teaches Shuanaka. That this is the Satyam. And who is this Satyam? Satyam, the etymology Satyam is, it opens up eightfold cosmic dispensation. And what is that? Utpatti sthiti samhara niyatir jnanam avrittihi bandha moksha cha purushad yasmat harirekarat. So that is how we, at least our gurus teach us with regards to how to contemplate the creatorship. And again, Raji is very right. And once it is created, then we are hanging around here doing our samsara, right? It gives you a framework in which try and work out your salvation. So here is the another view. So we understood there are three things in the universe, right? Of all of existence. If you categorize in philosophy, what are the things that are in existence? There are only three. There is Brahman, there are all the jivas, and then there is the matter, described very beautifully in Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Okay. So when you look at this creation, what is going on here? So the broad view there is Narayana prompts Lakshmi to start creation. So inducing Lakshmi to prompt creation is her creation. Okay? Because we know Lakshmi is all pervasive along with Vishnu. They are both two all pervasive entities in time and space. The only difference that the Vedas say is Lakshmi is all pervasive in time and space, but not necessarily in gunas, and she is dependent on Vishnu. Okay? But Vishnu is all pervasive in time, space, and gunas. Okay, so that is, but inducing Lakshmi to prompt creation is her creation. Okay, so what does she do then? She is the Abhimani of Mula Prakriti. And then the Mula Prakriti is stirred, Shri Bhu Durga, Sattva Rajas Tamas, and then we know all the transformations that happens in the Mula Prakriti that eventually becomes the Brahmanda. Then what is going on here? Inside this Brahman, who is also called Vishnu, what is going on? All these sentient beings are inside him, right? And they emerge during creation. So the first thing that Angirasa has spoken to us is that all the Tattvabhimani devatas are coming out, and then all the other devatas, such as the exalted sentient beings across the universe, they are also coming out. And then the emergence of ordinary souls like you and me. So we are all emerging out of Brahman. We guys have been in the womb of Brahman, whereas all these Tattvabhimani devatas, the Vedas tell us they come from various aspects of Brahman, and they do certain things in the universe. Okay? So that is the emergence of souls. Tattvabhimani devatas are also souls like us, but they're highly exalted. Then what happens? These souls carry a material body, right? There was never a point where the souls did not have a material body. It's a key concept in Sanatana Dharma. They lose their Linga Sharira only in moksha, but eternally they've always had the Linga Sharira. But when they come into creation, they kind of get coverings. Grosser matter that covers them, that becomes their creation. So the creation of the material bodies for the souls to reside is what we call as Pindana. So these are the things that is going on. This is the overarching view of creatorship of Brahman, and this is what Angirasa is telling us in various aspects. So last week we said Tasmacha Devaha Bahuda Samprasutaha Sadhyaha Manushyaha Pashavo Vayamsi. So if keeping the previous slide in our thought, let's now do Pravesha in today's session with regards to what is it that Angirasa is describing to us. So the first concept that he said is, once the Brahmanda is there, then the Pindanda comes in place, then what are all the things that emerge? Okay, so Tasma Devaha, Bahuda Samprasutaha, what are those? Sadhyaha, Manushyaha, Pashavo Vayamsi. So you read it from bottom to top. Birds, animals, man, Sadhyaha, these are all exalted devatas, not Tattvabhimani devatas, but exalted sentient beings across the universe. Okay? So they are all emerging and evolving. So this is, we discussed evolution last week, looked at Darwinism, Neo-Darwinism, etc., etc. So that all fits in very much. Vedic philosophy is, I would say, a little bit more advanced with regards to their concepts of evolution of living beings. And when we look at this, we also understood we should remember the Dwadasha Stotra. When we look at this variety of life around us, then we get prompted to remember Bahuchitra Jagat Bahuda Karanat Parashaktihi Ananta Gunaha Paramaha. So not only the creation of the universe, when you look at all this variety of living things around us, that itself is stupendous. That itself is amazing. The way our own body has been designed itself is amazing. And so when you look at that, then you know that this Paramatma is an abode of infinite auspicious attributes, not a zero entity. Let's not go there. He is full of auspicious attributes, is what we infer from this. Okay. I'm going to have a quick quiz here. What is William Paley's argument about Paramatma? Anybody wants to come in and tell us about William Paley's argument? We've discussed this before when we look at this universe and the created universe around us. What is William Paley's argument? Sushil, Nita.
Watchmaker argument?
Very good. Yeah. Explain to us a bit more.
The mechanism of running a watch is so complicated. It is not possible that it has happened by chance. It needs a mind, a conscious being to have actually created the mechanism. So
Beautiful, Sushilji. Perfect answer. So William Paley's argument, watchmaker's theory about the intelligent design of the universe. And that is what our Acharya said several hundreds of years ago. This particular verse of Dvadasha Stotra becomes interesting. So that is the first view of Tasmacha Devaha Bahuda Samprasutaha Sadhyaha Manushyaha Pasho Vayamsi. But our Angirasa is now going to leave us, right? Mangirasa is going to give us more and more. He compresses various ideas and knowledge and philosophy in these verses. So what we will do today is try and understand what are the other ideas that are actually compressed in this verse. And there are at least 5. Okay. So the first one is the emergence of Tattva Abhimani Devatas through various routes under the control of Supreme. I think this is an important concept. Once we get this in our head, reading the Puranas, Itihasas becomes a lot more easier. Then you have, of course, the Brahmanda and Pindanda. We are the resident experts on Brahmanda and Pindanda. And then, of course, Tasmacha Devaha Bahuda Samprasutaha. There are various avatars to do sadhanas in Mrityuloka. So that is an interesting thing. So when we understand all these Tattva Abhimani Devatas, what are all the various avatars or various forms in which they come to Mrityuloka, that is also discussed here in this particular verse. They come as Manushyas, they come as Pashavas, they come as Vayamsi. So let's look at what's going on here. So the one primary idea that I just want to introduce here is Surya Chandramaso Data Yatapurvam Akalpayat. So all this sequence of creation that we have discussed over the last 15 minutes or so, they have not just happened in this cycle of creation. The same kind of protocol is happening in every creation. Surya, Chandra, Asau, Dhata, Yatapurvam Akalpayat. How it was there in the previous creation, it is the same in this creation, says the Rig Veda. Okay, the creation cycle is eternal. And in each cycle, the sort of things that happens is also exactly the same. Bhagavatam also says the same thing, right? Yet idanim tadagre cha paschad api etad idrisham. Srimad Bhagavatam also cites the same kind of idea. So hold on to that because this becomes important as we navigate these slides. So Devatas. So again, Devatas means what? All the sentient beings that are out there, starting from Chaturmukha, Rudra, etc., that we worship in our temples. We have dealt with these ideas before, but this is a slightly a deeper view of how that is happening. Okay? So the first thing that we need to understand is these guys like Chaturmukha and Rudra and all that, they are not names of individuals. When I say Chaturmukha and then Rudra, it is a post, it is a designation, okay? And there is a soul that will come and occupy that position. So Chaturmukha, for example, belongs to the Riju category of souls, okay? And then you have the Rudra type of souls. So they perform that particular function. So when I say Chaturmukha, it's an office post. Okay. And these guys, this is the important key idea here, and I'll illustrate why that is. Tasmacha Devaha Bahuda Samprasutaha. So from Paramatma, these exalted beings come out, isn't it? And we have discussed enough. Okay. So I have said Janmadhyasya Yataha. So the first view there is all these Tattva Abhimani Devatas, they emerge from Brahman. Okay, and we know from various aspects of Brahman, from the womb we come, from various other aspects, Tattva Abhimani Devatas come out. That there is no controversy or confusion because we have done this empty number of times. Okay, but that is not all that the Vedas are saying. These Devatas, these exalted beings, also have various other routes to creation. Okay, Tasmacha Devaha Bahuda Samprasutaha. So that seems a little confusing. If they are all coming from Brahman, how can they have other roots to creation? So let us look at this. So here what we have, Brahman is there. Brahman prompts Lakshmi and says, Lakshmi, start the creation. Then Lakshmi then assumes Shri Bhu Durga, and then she stirs up this, and then the creation starts. Hold on to that idea. Go to Ambarini Sukta, very, very important, where Lakshmi, she is Vedic pantheon number 2, isn't it? She also is said to be a creator of the universe. So Brahman, Vishnu is the supreme creator of the universe. Ambarini Shukta tells us that Lakshmi is also creator of the universe. Aham Rudrebhir Vasubhishta Charami Adityair Uta Vishve Devaihi Aham Suve Pitaram Asya Murdan Mama Yonihi Apswantaha Samudre. These are all beautiful verses of Ambarini Sukta. For those of you interested, look into the greatness of Lakshmi Tattva. Yes, there are some schools that don't even think about Lakshmi Tattva, which is really sad. Lakshmi is such an exalted being. If Lakshmi did not desire to create, we are not here. Okay, so Ambarini Sukta celebrates Lakshmi as a creator who brings everything. Lakshmi says in Ambarini Sukta, Lakshmi says, I bring forth everything in creation. Aham Rudrebir Vasubhish Charami Aham Adityair Uta Vishve Devaihi. I can create anything. And she goes on and says, I create this, I create that, I create everything, says Lakshmi Tattva. Aham Suve Pitaram. Pitara means Chaturmukha. Okay. Aham Suve Pitaramasya Murdan. Chaturmukha comes from my forehead, says Lakshmi in Ambarini Sukta of Rig Veda. Mama Yonir Apswantaha Samudre. But my origin is this fellow who is lying on the ocean. Okay. Origin means I am dependent, and he prompts me. My origin to create is this Vishnu, my husband, Krishna, my consort, who prompts me. Aham Suve Pitaramasya Murdan Mamayonir Apswantaha Samudre. Okay. So this is important because sometimes we can get lost in these various verses, but as long as we are 100% clear in ourselves that she is the most important creator of the universe, but she is prompted by Vishnu, and she is a dependent creator. Okay, so this is point number 2. Tasmacha devaha bahuda samprasutaha. Devas, they come, Lakshmi Devata comes, in the creation happens for her. Okay, for example, these Devatas, the first creation of the Devatas is through Narayana. The second creation is through Lakshmi. Okay, so think about these ideas, because when we understand in what context they come in, it will not lead to any confusion. Okay? Lakshmi is the creator, but she is dependent on Vishnu. Next, the popular view, if you go to all the schools where they teach Hinduism, at least they teach something. I don't know whether they teach it properly, but they do teach something. And they say, Brahma is the creator. That is the definition that they've given. Brahma is the creator. Okay. Vishnu is the maintainer. Shiva is the destroyer. Okay. That's a superficial view of things, but that's fine. At least that lets people to think and think further. Okay. But here Angirasa is saying, Tasmacha devaha bahuda samprasutaha. So from Lakshmi's forehead, Chaturmukha comes out, right? After Chaturmukha, Vayu comes out after 36,000 years, says the Vedas. So Vayu comes third. Initially, Chaturmukha comes, okay? So these two guys, as you know, belongs to the Ruju category of souls. They also create the universe. They also create the universe means what? All these Tattvabhimanita Devatas also come through Brahma and Prana. Okay, so this particular question is very interesting. So hopefully at some point we'll do Shat Prashna Upanishad. So in Shat Prashna Upanishad, the very first question deals with this. Really, really interesting. Ata kabandi katyayana upetya papracha. Bhagavan, kuto hava imaha prajaha prajayanta iti. How does all these living beings are coming out? Tasmai sahovacha prajakamo vai prajapatihi satapo atapyata satapastaptva sa mitunam utpadayate rayimcha pranam cha yeta itau me bahuda prajaha karishyata iti. A very, very important statement. Yeah. Folks forget these kind of important statements in Prashna Upanishad when they talk about creatorship. So here, Rai and Prana. Okay, Rahim, Bharati. Pranam, Vayu. Vayu's consort is Bharati. Or Rahim, Saraswati. Pranam, Chaturmukha. So these two guys then together, Mithunam, these two then bring forth the emergence of the rest of the Tattvabhimani Devatas. So in that sense, saying Chaturmukha Brahma or Vayu are also creators is fine, but they are dependent on who? They are prompted by Lakshmi, and Lakshmi is under the control of Vishnu. So as long as you know that they are dependent creators, Vishnu is inside them as their Antaryamin and prompts them to create. Okay? That is the Vedic position on creatorship of Chaturmukha Brahma. When I say he is a creator, he is a dependent creator. Yeah. Bhagavatam also has this beautiful verse where it worships Chaturmukha Brahma. Yeah. And go and check this verse out in Bhagavatam. So that is the third approach here of creatorship of Tattvabhimani Devatas. They emerge from Vishnu, they emerge from Lakshmi, they emerge from Chaturmukha Brahma and Vayu. Okay. Now we move to the fourth version of this, the fourth level of understanding this. Tasmacha devaha bahuda samprasutaha. This Tattvabhimani Devatas also have various other roots in which they come. The next in this order is Shiva. So I'm going to break there for a minute because there are some folks who say Shiva is the destroyer. That is all his portfolio is. Anybody wants to come here and share their view on this one? Is this right to say Rudra Tattva, that is so high, fifth in the Vedic pantheon, grandson of Lakshmi and Narayana, son of Chaturmukha Brahma, he is such an exalted being. Is he just a destroyer of the universe? Anybody wants to come in here and share their ideas? Okay, so
Can I say something?
Saraji, go for it, and then we'll come to Anand. Yeah.
Well, there is a story in our Vedas which I have heard. I don't exactly know from where it is, but there was once this Shiva says that you find where I begin and where I end. And then suddenly there is one Vishwa Linga which appears, which neither has a beginning or an end. So Vishnu and Brahma, they take upon their tasks to find out. So I think Brahma says that I will find out the beginning, which is at the top. And Vishnu says that I will go to the bottom and see where it ends. And they have some kind of a bet. They say that whoever finds out the limits of this will be winning. So Brahma keeps on going up. He doesn't find the limit. And finally, he finds a Ketiki flower. So he tells the Ketiki flower that, will you lie for me? So if you do lie for me, then, then I will do you some favor or something. And that flower agrees, and Brahma comes down. Vishnu comes up and says that I could not find any limits. I have lost. So following this, Brahma says, I have found the limits. I win. And then Shiva appears. And then he curses Brahma that there will not be any temples. Of course, there are a lot of hidden algorithms and hidden symbolisms behind this. But at this point, it looks as if Shiva is much more greater than Vishnu and Brahma combined, because both Vishnu and Brahma could not see what is the beginning and what is the end of Shiva. So I thought maybe I could point out this, and perhaps you would be able to explain what actually this means.
Very interesting, Saraji, for those views. So I think you're coming from certain ideas in Shiva Puranas. So these ideas about Shiva comes from Shiva Puranas. I'm not quite sure whether they were composed by Veda Vyasa. So as you know, Veda Vyasa did 18 Mahapuranas and so on. So there are certain categories called Shiva Puranas. And without going into the controversies of this, Shiva Puranas had a particular purpose for which they were composed. Vishnu himself asked Shiva to compose these Puranas and so on. So that is one particular view. So yeah, we will park there at this point. But if you could provide us a Vedic sentence or a Vedic rik that talks about this. I would be very interested to go and explore this further. But as far as I know, this comes from Shiva Purana. Shiva Purana is it is not an Apaurusheya Agama, which we have discussed. So it is composed by somebody. And there are all those debates around the authoritativeness and all that. So let's not get into this, but it's a very interesting idea. Thank you very much, Sharaji. I think Anand Srinivasan, did you want to come in here at this point?
Yeah, destroyer probably means destroyer of Agyanari. That's what I thought. Agyana because by controlling the Indriyas and Manas and using Buddhi. So that is the limitation with respect to what destroyer means, right?
Yeah, beautiful, Anandji. Thank you very much. Amazing answer. Yeah. So Shiva is not just the destroyer as well, because he is fifth in the Vedic pantheon. And he is as we know, is the Abhimani of the Ahankara Tattva. Look at the Taittiriya Upanishad of Krishna Yajurveda. Tasmadva etasmat atmanaha akashaha sambhutaha. Akashad vayuhu vayo ragnihi agnebhya Agner apaha adabhya prithvi prithivya oshadayaha oshadibhyo annam annat purushaha. Okay. Beautiful verse of Taittiriya Upanishad that gives you this idea that this Shiva Tattva Rudra, who is called Atmanaha, and as Anandji was very beautifully mentioning just now, that Atma is what? Mind. Controller of the mind is who? Shiva Tattva. So from this Shiva, Akasha comes. Who is the Akasha? Ganesha. And then Vayu, Tejas, Ap, Prithvi. So he's talking about this, the grossest, the Panchabhutas emerge from Rudra Tattva. How? Rudra becomes three, Vaikarika, Tejasa, Tamasa. Then Tamasa becomes Tanmatras and all the Bhutas. Then Tejasa becomes all the Indriyas, Karma Indriyas, Jnana Indriyas, and from Vaikarika, Manas, they all come in. So Rudra plays a key role there. So Rudra is a creator, okay? He creates all this. If Rudra did not have this portfolio, we would not have this Panchabhutas, the gross elements that we have, which actually makes up all this Pindanda and everything else. So Shiva is also a creator. So let us not forget it. He is a great creator of all the Bhutas. Okay, Panchabhutas. We say he's Panchamukhi, right? Because of all the fives, the various fives that emerge from Rudra Tattva. Okay, so he's not just a destroyer, as Anandji beautifully does. He is a destroyer of what? He is a destroyer of ignorance. How? Because if we pray to Rudra and say, look, focus my mind, get me onto the right track, let me know about the Paramatma, then destroy my ignorance, and then you move towards moksha. Look at Keno Upanishad. Okay, Keno Upanishad is beautiful. Keno Upanishad is what? It's a conversation between Rudra and Chaturmukha Brahma, his father. Rudra is asking, Kene shitam patati preshitam manaha, Kena pranaha preti yuktaha, Kene shitam vacham. He goes on, he asks, what is happening? How do I know this Paramatma? My grandfather, how do I know him? Is the discussion in the Keno Upanishad, okay, which is also known as what? Talavakara Upanishad, which is part of the Samaveda. So I think we should always go to the root Vedas, and my submission here would be anything that we want to discuss, any Vedantic concept that we need to discuss, we either go to the Vedas or the Gita and then use the Brahma Sutra to interpret this, because that is what the Prasthanatrayas, that all the three acharyas have given us. Yeah. So yete anuyayinastesham sarvete cha sadagamaha. Okay, Brahmanda Purana. Anything that concurs with the seven that we discussed is a sadagama. Anything that does not confer is duragama. Okay. Yete anuyayinastesham sarvete cha sadagamaha duragamas tadanyeye tairnagneyo janardanaha. If that particular Purana does not talk about the Janardanaha, Brahmanda Purana says that you don't have to focus on that. So these rules become very interesting and important when we are making a philosophical journey. So Rudra is not just a destroyer, he is also the creator. His Antaryamin is the Vishnu Tattva that prompts him to do this. Okay. This emergence of Tattva Bhimani Devatas gets even more interesting because you would have read this in Puranas and other places. Okay, about all this Kashyapa, Aditi, Diti, and how Kashyapa and Aditi, from them came all the Devatas and so on. That is also true, because who is the eighth guy who comes in this equation? Indra. Indra then creates lots of other things. Things below him all come under Indra. Indra himself, the scriptures say, they come from Kashyapa and Aditi. And that happens in every Manvantara. Okay, so you have what? Life of Brahma, then Vishnu, Lakshmi are on top here. Then you have the life of Brahma. Then you have the Brahma's 100 years. Then you have in each, you can break it up into various Manvantaras, right? And in each Manvantara, there are something like, so many Divya Yugas, right? 1000 Divya Yugas. Okay, sorry, 71 Divya Yugas. And in each Divya Yuga, you have this 4 thingy, right? Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. So we are all very familiar with this cosmic times. And in each Manvantara, you will have a Vishnu's avatar. You will have Sapta Rishis. You will have a specific Indra that comes in. Then from this Indra come all these Devatas. Okay, that is also described in our Puranas. Bhagavatam talks about this. Yeah, Kashyapa and Aditi, and from there comes Indra. Every Manvantara they come. So as you know, how many Manvantaras we have? 14 Manvantaras. We are in the 7th Manvantara, which is also called Vaivashvata Manvantara. This is the 28th Divya Yuga that is going on. For this Manvantara, Lord Vishnu's avatara is Matsya. The Shapta Rishis who are there is Jamadagni, Kashyapa, Atri, Vasishta, Gautama, Agastya, Bharadwaja. Kashyapa marries Diti and Aditi. From Aditi comes the Devatas, Indra. The current Indra is called Purandara. Then you have all the Devatas, Aditya, Vasu, Rudra, Vishwe Devas, Maruts, Ashwini Kumaras, and so on. Don't confuse this Rudra with this Rudra, okay? So Vishwe Devas, Maruts, yeah? Don't confuse this Marut with Vayu Tattva, yeah? So Ashwini Kumaras, Aditya, So they all come in as well. So that is another level in which the Tattvabhimani Devatas are emerging. Okay, so when you sort of read the various Puranas, you need to have this global view of creation, starting from Vishnu, Lakshmi, Chaturmukha and Vayu, Indra, Kashyapa, Aditi, Indra, and so on. That is how these Tattvabhimani Devatas are emerging. So once they have emerged, what's happening? Then they do all these portfolios in Brahmanda. So that we don't want to spend too much time. We are all very familiar with regards to what they do. Mahat Tattva, Ahankara Tattva, Vaikarika Tejasa, Tamasa, Tanmatras, Panchabhutas, Jnana Indriyas, Karma Indriyas, Manas, Buddhi, etc. And our Vedic system gives the sentient beings the respective portfolios in Brahmanda. And then, of course, after the 6th stage, from the 7th stage of creation as discussed in Bhagavatam, Pindanda starts emerging. All these bodies start emerging and the souls start occupying these bodies. Yeah, Pindanda. And then the Vedic system says, these Devatas, Tasmacha Devaha, Bahuda Samprasutaha, they have various portfolios, guys, in various components of your body. They are looking after the various things in the body in Pindanda. Okay. That is also an idea that we need to get from Tasmacha Devaha, Bahuda Samprasuta. So this probably, we looked at this slide something like 4 or 5 years ago of actually understanding the management structure of the universe. Yeah, this universe is not an illusion. If it is an illusion, you don't need a management structure, right? You really don't need a management structure for illusion of individual components. This is a real universe that comes from Mula Prakriti, prompted by Vishnu to Lakshmi, and then all the Devatas that are doing their portfolio. So let us not fall down by assuming this universe is an illusion. Okay. Why? Because there is a management structure here. Look at the BMW. You have various press shops, body shops, paint shops, assembly, seat production, engine production, etc., etc. And each one has got a various workers who are fitting it. And then there is a head of individual departments, and they all report to somebody in the higher level management. The line management keeps going up, and then it goes to the president or the chairman. Okay, that is exactly how the universe is. These systems in the companies are there because these exist already. It's all there in our Vedic system. The chief executive is Vishnu. Chief financial officer is Lakshmi. Chief operating officer is Chaturmukha Brahma. And then there is a management hierarchy of various departments, which is the Tattvabhimani Devatas. Okay? So this is how the universe is designed, says the Vedas. And this guy here, who is the chief executive, he is an independent controller of all these guys. Unlike a BMW department, he's actually inside all of them as their Antaryamin and controlling and making sure that everything is happening. So that is why he is called Janmadhyasya Yataha. I hope this was interesting because that takes us to this Vedic pantheon, right? So this is, again, we are very familiar with the Vedic pantheon. Yeah, it is this key concept. Without Vedic pantheon, you cannot understand the Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Puranas composed by Vedavyasa. Yeah. 2 weeks ago, we have proven that Vedavyasa is Narayana's incarnation and he is Apta. Whatever he composes is authoritative. So we take the Puranas composed by Vedavyasa and the Itihasa and Mahabharata taken by, composed by Vedavyasa and all the Vedas. Okay? They all talk about this Vedic pantheon. There are, of course, the sentient beings are all over the universe. We humans think that we are the highest on earth, but that is our sad position. But there are far more higher sentient beings that are scattered around the universe, says the Vedas. But at least we need to know the 25. And as I told you before, even if we don't know the 25, at least know the first 15, starting from Vishnu, Lakshmi, Chaturmukha, Saraswati, Rudra, Indra, Surya, Chandra, Yama, Varuna, and Agni. At least we need to know this guy. Some folks like Ganapati, so that's fine. Look at Ganapati, he's 18. Yeah, Ganga, 20. Yeah. So Shani, some guys like Shani, 24. Yeah. So we need to know this. Okay. Why? Tasmacha devaha bahuda samprasutaha, it says Angirasa. What does that mean is, yes, these devatas are here, they look after the portfolios of Brahmanda and they look after the various portfolios of Pindanda. But here is an interesting twist here. These devatas themselves descend down upon earth in various forms. Tasmacha devaha bahuda samprasutaha. Why do they descend? Sadhyaha. How do they descend? Manushyaha pashavo vayamsi. Very logical sentence. So devatas descend upon earth in multiple forms. Okay. So for our benefit, I have actually plotted this for our benefit. So when I say Mahabharata or Ramayana, and there are all these characters in this story, so-called story, yeah, Ramayana and Mahabharata. So the first point to say that is, yes, it is a storyline that very popularly for Ramayana, we folks think about Valmiki Ramayana. But our Acharya says before Valmiki Ramayana. So what happened to Valmiki Ramayana? How did that emerge? Anybody wants to tell us? Oh, this is a good quick discussion. How did Valmiki Ramayana come about? How many 1,000 verses are there in Valmiki Ramayana? And how did this come about? So who is going to tell us that? I'm sure we have discussed this before. Okay, so Valmiki Ramayana is called 24,000 granthas. Okay, it is only a portion of Ramayana. There is something called Moola Ramayana that is called 100 crore granthas. Hayagriva Namaka Paramatma gives it to Chaturmukha Brahma. Chaturmukha Brahma then teaches Narada. Narada then teaches Valmiki. Valmiki then makes an abridged version of Ramayana and then just gives the storyline, not the philosophy, just the storyline in 24,000 granthas, which is now popular. And there are various folks we have composed, including Tulsidas and others, who have used Valmiki Ramayana and given us the storyline, okay, but not the philosophy. If you want to know the philosophy of Ramayana, then you go to Moola Ramayana, use Tatparya Nirnaya of Acharya, and then understand what is the philosophy that was taught by Hayagriva Namaka Paramatma to Chaturmukha and Chaturmukha to Narada. And that philosophy, very briefly, I have listed for you for Ramayana. And then we will also look at it in Mahabharata. Okay, so Tasmacha devaha bahuda samprasutaha sadhyaha manushyaha pashavo vayamsi. So whenever this Moola Tattva, Vishnu descends upon earth, his Tattvabhimani devatas also descend on earth. In what forms? Manushyaha pashavo vayamsi. They may appear as men, they may appear as animals, they may appear as birds. 3 things the Vedas say, that is Angirasa's Atharva Veda, tells us this. And so that is what we need to use to understand Ramayana and Mahabharata, which I hope will be useful here. So let's go through this. So Rama is Vishnu, no problem. Sita is Lakshmi, no problem. Hanuman is Vayu, 100%, as evidenced by Balikta Suktas and so many other evidences that are available in the Apaurushya Veda. Okay. Rudra is Durvasha in Ramayana. Sesha is Lakshmana. Indra is Vali. Swayambhuva Manu is Dasharatha. Surya is Sugriva. Chandra is Angada. Yama is Jambavanta. Varuna is Susena. Susena is a Vanara, okay? Along with Hanuman and so on. So it's interesting for those who want these inner details. Varuna is Susena. Agni is Neela. Nirriti, Durbuki. They are all Vanaras that come in that Sundarakanda area of Ramayana. Ashwini twins, Mainda and Vivida, these are also Vanaras. Okay. So if you put these devatas who come down, says the Vedas, and Ramayana is a practical application of what Angirasa is telling us, that these devatas come down in various forms. Okay. If you put that in, then you read what the incidents that are going on. Then if you look at the Taratamya, as it's called, with the various pantheons and what is going on, then the plot and the story becomes very beautiful, where you understand it from a philosophical perspective. Okay. So here I have a quick quiz. Rama has got 3 brothers, right? Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna. So I put a quiz here to get you thinking about. So who is Bharata and who is Shatrughna? Who are they? From a Devata perspective, anybody wants to share their thoughts here, please?
Are they the Sangha and Chakra?
Beautiful, Sudarshan, Shanku and Chakra, fantastic. But a bit more, tell us a bit more. Who is the Abhimani of Shanku and who is the Abhimani of Chakra?
No, probably not. I don't not that familiar. And I know the Lakshmana is the Adishesha.
Adishesha, beautiful. Yes. So Shesha is Lakshmana. So then Bharata and Shatrughna. So yeah, Raj and Kusumji, you were going to say something.
I think we wanted to say the same.
Madhuji.
What was said before. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. Anybody else wants to tell us who is Bharata and Shatrughna?
Bharata is Chakra
Yeah,
and Shatrughna is Shanka.
Shanka. Okay.
Abhimani Devata.
Yeah. So who are the Tattvabhimani Devatas of Chakra and Shanka? So this is interesting homework for us. So the Shanka Abhimani. So remember this 4 aspects. It is Shanku, Chakra, Gada, Padma. So think about those 4 things.
Sankarsana and Pradyumna.
Pradyumna, correct. And then who is the other one? Sankarshana is Sesha.
Aniruddha.
Aniruddha. Okay, excellent. So Pradyumna and Aniruddha. So let's have a little bit of discussion on that, because that Pradyumna and Aniruddha that Sushruji and Padmajaji are saying should not be confused with the Vyuha forms of the Lord, which is Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Sankarshana, Vasudeva, Narayana. Okay. But here is the Shanku and Chakra Abhimanis are called Pradyumna and Aniruddha. They are Devatas who are the Abhimanis of the Shanku and Chakra. And in them is the Avesha, as it's called, of Pradyumna Namaka Paramatma and Aniruddha Namaka Paramatma, which is a Vyuha forms. Okay. So those guys, actually, they want to come down when Lord comes down, says our scriptures, and then they come as Bharata and Shatrughna. Okay, just check them out. And here is a question, and I'm still doing a little bit of research to understand what is the position of the Pradyumna who becomes Bharata and Aniruddha who becomes Shatrughna, and what is their Kaksha, or where do they stand in the Vedic pantheon? And I'm still searching for that. If anybody has their Vedic pantheon number, I would very gratefully receive that, because I'm still looking out for that for Bharata and Shatrughna. But I hope this idea is interesting, that Bharata and Shatrughna also, they come down. So Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna fits in very, very beautifully. Now here is another view also. We were discussing that this morning, that our Narayana has got 4 things, right? Who wants to let us the 4 things that he's having in his hands? So one is Shanku, the other one is Chakra. What are the other 2 things? Padma and Gada. So he's got 4 things, right? So the 4 things, of course, they mean so many things, including the 4 Purusharthas. But here is also the other Tattva Bhimanita, Shri, Bhu and Durga and Vayu. Vayu is Bhimasena, and what does he carry? He carry the Gada. Okay. So the Gada, he always, the view there is, Narayana always holds these guys very close to him. So Shri, Bhu and Durga become the Shanku, Chakra and Padma. And the Gada becomes Vayu. So they stay together. So that is one view. Okay. And the other view, of course, is there are these Tattva Bhimani Devatas. So Bharata and Shatrugna also come down. So Tasmacha Devaha Bahuda Samprasutaha. So these Devas come as per their rank, they perform a few things. And when you look at the storyline very carefully, Valmiki may have written the storyline, but we have to go to Tatparya Nirnaya and Mula Ramayana to understand the philosophy, because that is what we are interested in, is to study the Ramayana, understand the Vedic philosophy there, and make our spiritual progress. So I would just urge you to look at Ramayana from that perspective, as how Angirasa has said, Tasmacha Devaha Bahuda Samprasutaha. Look at Mahabharata. It's even more interesting. Who is Vishnu? Krishna and Veda Vyasa. Who is Lakshmi? Who comes down? This is very, very important for those who are serious practitioners of Vedic philosophy. Okay? So Lakshmi has got what? 3 forms, right? Shri, Bhu and Durga. So the Mahabharata is very clear. Bhagavatam is very clear. It says Lakshmi, when Narayana comes down as Krishna, Lakshmi comes down in 3 forms. Rukmani, Satyabhama and Durga, which is the 3 aspects of Lakshmi, Shri, Bhu and Durga. Okay, so here I have a question. Where does Durga come in this equation? So in that Mahabharata sequence, when does Durga come? Anybody wants to answer that question?
Before the Krishna's birth, then there's a Kali.
Beautiful, Sudarshan, well done. So that is where Durga comes. But Lakshmi, then the 2 avatars, Shri and Bhu, are Rukmani and Satyabhama. Okay. Now here I have a slightly controversial question, and I'll try and keep it as less controversial as it can be. Who is Radha then? Anybody wants to answer this question? Who is Radha? Mahabharata doesn't talk about Radha. Bhagavatam doesn't talk about Radha. Yet Radha is very popular in certain organizations. Who is Radha? Anybody wants to share their thoughts there?
Is she number 6 in the pantheon?
Who is that? So you should please clarify.
Is that those Shan Mahishis?
So that is one view. Neela as one of the Shan Mahishis. Okay, if she is Shan Mahishi, then certainly cannot be the consort of Krishna. Shan Mahishi is not Lakshmi. Yeah, so how can there be a consort of Krishna? These are discussions. Yeah. So yeah, you may be right. Raj?
I think Radha, there is one concept which says Radha and Krishna are no separate people. Krishna has no specific gender. I think he can be the Uttama Purusha as well as Uttama Stri. So that Stri aspect is Radha. That's why he doesn't marry her, apparently. That's what I've read. Sorry. Somewhere in the...
Yeah, interesting ideas, but still remains. Lakshmi comes down only as a Rukmani, Satyabhama and Durga. Sorry, anybody else?
No, I mean, Radha is incarnation of Lakshmi herself.
If you, okay,
Some
that is interesting, but that is not the view that is held by certain organizations that worship Radha. Okay, so I'm not going to name anybody here. So that is not the, so if Radha is Lakshmi, that's fine. So Suresh, there is the Sarva Shabda Vachyatva, right? So the names of Vishnu is exclusive to him. So after those, all other names can mean Vishnu or Lakshmi. So in that sense, if you take Sarva Shabda Vachyatva, Radha can be Lakshmi's name, and there is an etymology of Radha. Anybody wants to tell us what is the etymology of Radha? So the etymology of Radha is Radhyate Sarvadevaihi Yasa Radha. That entity which is worshipped by all the devatas is Radha. That is Lakshmi. So if you want to take Radha as Lakshmi, no problem. But that is not the view of certain other organizations. Radha is a different entity. Okay. There is a view that Radha is one of the Gopikas. Braj Gopis, as it's called. So she's a Gopi. Gopis are what? Gopis are apsaras who descend down when Krishna descends. Okay, so gopis are apsaras. They also, like the Tattvabhimani devatas, they descend. So then who is this Radha? So there is a little bit of, I won't say controversy, different views there. But primarily, I'll leave that, I'll park it there. You can do your homework and read and then convince yourselves what is the ontological position of Radha, which is what we are interested in Vedic philosophy. But primarily in Mahabharata, Lakshmi's incarnation is Rukmani, Satyabhama and Durga. Nowhere is Radha in this picture, nor in Bhagavatam. Okay, think about this. Vayu, Bhima, Rudra, Ashwatthama, Sesha, Balarama, Indra, Arjuna, Brihaspati, Dronacharya and Uddhava, Surya, Karana, Chandra, Abhimanyu, Yama, Yudhishthira and Vidura. The same Yama is Jambavanta in Ramayana. Varuna, Shantanu. Shantanu is the dad of Pandu, etc. You know that story. Agni, Drishtadyumna, the guy who goes right at the beginning of the war. The same Agni is Neela in Ramayana. Ashwini twins, Nakula and Sahadeva. Dhyuvasu is Bhishma, the grandsire of Mahabharata. Kakshe, Vedic Pantheon 19. Pandu, the father of Pandavas. He is very low in the Vedic Pantheon. Pravaha Marut, 48. Okay. So my intention of putting this table is to tell you Tasmacha Devaha Bahuda Samprasutaha. There is. How do they come? Manushyaha Pashavo Vayamsi. This is beautiful. These devatas, they descend when Narayana descends in various avatars to do their sadhana. Sadhyaha. How do they come as Manushyaha, as described in Ramayana and Mahabharata? In all these characters, there are some Manushyaha, looks like humans. Pashavo, as described in Ramayana and Mahabharata, there are so many Pashavas, Vanaras, Jambavanta. Yeah. Vayamsi. This is very interesting. Vayamsi. They even come as birds, say the Vedas. As I said, this is Angirasa intuiting, and he's saying, this is how it is happening, made in the universe. All these exalted beings come and more. There is a lot of traffic going on. They come in various forms, etc. That is what he's saying. You know, our gurus teach us in the Rig Veda, there is something called Jaritari Sukta. I've given you some suktas there of Jaritari. Jarita is a bird. And these birds, they come and do Vedic, recitation and so on, says the Vedas. And these Jaritaris are devatas who come and do it. Look at Jatayu and Sampati. I put a question there. Who is Jatayu and who is Sampati and where do they come? Quick quiz. Please share your ideas.
Jatayu comes in Ramayana.
Beautiful. What about Sampati?
Sampati is his dad, isn't he?
Yeah, okay, cool.
Or his grandfather, something like that.
Brother.
His friend, he is Dasharatha's friend.
Okay, cool. Yeah, excellent, Kusumji. Thank you very much. Neeta Sushru?
Sampati is Jatayu's brother. He saves him from going up to the sun and burning, and he gets his wings burnt or something like that.
Yeah, excellent. Anybody else? How are they related to Garuda? So that was my next. How are they related to Garuda, Jatayu, and Sampati? How are they related?
Garuda.
They are descendants
of Garuda.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right, Kusumji. So Garuda is there. Garuda's son is Aruna. Okay, Aruna. What does Aruna do? They are all devatas. Okay, just of interest. What does Aruna do? What is Aruna's job? She rides somebody's horse. Whose horse does she ride?
Surya's chariot.
Surya's chariot. Beautiful, Padmaji. Thank you, Aruna. Aruna's children, 2 sons. One is Jatayu, the other one is Sampati. Okay. So actually, Jatayu is supposed to be Garuda's grandson. Okay? Jatayu, who comes in Ramayana. So these are all devatas. So these birds who are there, it's not just birds. That's a very, if we read Ramayana from that perspective, it feels like crazy. How can a bird talk? How can the Rama have a conversation with the birds? Or how can the monkeys have a conversation with a human? How can this, Jambavanta, how can he have this word? So there are some people in other philosophies and religions, they make fun of this. Okay. I just wanted to bring that and remind people that if we have our philosophy ingrained properly, we will be equipped to answer that. Monkey god and all that people make fun. that is their problem again. But we need to equip ourselves with the philosophy behind this as to what are we talking here. We are talking about the philosophy of Ramayana. The story of Ramayana is different. Philosophy of Ramayana is different. If they both tally with each other, then that's good for us. If they don't, then it is our downfall. Yeah. So these guys are Devatas. Garuda. What is the rank of Garuda? Garuda. Who wants to share the Vedic rank of Garuda? Garuda, Sesha, Rudra, they are all in the same rank. Fifth rank.
5.
5. Absolutely. They're such exalted Devatas. And his grandson is also a Devata. Comes down as Jatayu. Okay. Look at Gajendra. So this is Gajendra Moksha, right? So who is Gajendra? Anybody wants to tell us who Gajendra is? Who comes as an elephant? Any takers? So he's a Gandharva. He's a Gandharva who is fallen down and then he goes back. Yeah, read that Bhagavatam story. So they are all called Devata. Sorry, Padmajaji.
Aha, Uhu Gandharvas.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Aha, Uhu Gandharvas, and then he becomes elephant and so on. So when we look at these Puranas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, let us not fall down and see them as just stories. No, we have to go into the Moola Ramayana or Mahabharata, use the rules of interpretations, place where these guys are in this Vedic pantheon, and then understand this, and then understand the sequence of events. Then it becomes a philosophical text. Okay, so I hope that information was helpful. So these are the last few slides. Tasmacha devaha bahuda samprasutaha. So here is a basic question, right? I've given you all these ideas. Here is a logical question that I'm asking. How can Vishnu, Lakshmi, Devatas be in the respective lokas and in the various components of the Brahmanda and Pindanda? So if Arjuna has come down during Dwapara Yuga, does that mean he has vacated his Indraloka? If Vishnu has come down as Krishna, does it mean he has vacated his Vaikuntha? So we need to think about these things. So if they have come down, how is this possible? How can Vishnu and they're there in the respective lokas and at the same time they are in the various components of Brahmanda and Pindanda? When Vishnu descends, how can the Devatas come along and yet be placed in the respective lokas, Brahmanda and Pindanda? Okay. Anybody wants to share their thoughts here as to how is this happening? What is the solution that is given by our Vedas? Vedas are very, very logical text, okay? It's not some crazy ideas that are coming out here about Pindanda, Brahmanda, and the various avatars and so on. So there is a reason why this is happening. So why is that? How can they do this? How is that possible? Anybody wants to tackle this problem?
Namaskar, Master. It's like a lamp, no? You take a lamp and light it, you take it to the different room, but it is still there in the everywhere, like in the room, which you have taken it also.
Yeah, okay. So that's interesting, Pratibhaji. Thank you very much. Interesting. I think, yes, you're right in a sense. But anything else, it should give us an idea about certain concepts of Paramatma, Lakshmi, the Tattvabhimani Devatas. And again, tell us why is it that we even bother worshipping, Ganesha and so on. Yeah, there must be a reason, right? So, sorry, somebody unmuted?
It was about to tell Achintya Adbhuta Shakti of the Lord.
Fantastic, Pratibhaji. Anybody else?
It's me. One of the modern version is if we start believing in time travel and God being so much superior than any one of us or any one of the superior, like if you want to call them aliens or who are capable of time traveling, he must be able to do anything. So he can be there in various places at the same time or split of the seconds or even fraction of that time, I think. Sorry, that's...
Yeah, excellent, Raji. Yeah, very, very interesting, beautiful thoughts there. So it boils down to this Achintya Adbhuta Shakti. Okay, this Achintya Adbhuta Shakti of Lakshmi, of Narayana, of all these Tattvabhimani Devatas. So that is how our Vedas resolve this, what appears to be self-contradictory. How can people be in different places simultaneously? Okay. Achintya Adbhuta Shakti, we have done it in Katha Upanishad, right? Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan, Asino Duram Vrajati, Shayano Yati Sarvataha. So as Raji so nicely described that he can be everywhere simultaneously. Okay. Contradictory, what is the definition of Achintya Adbhuta Shakti? Vedavyasa himself gives a definition in his work called Brahmatarka. Says, contradictory characteristics present simultaneously. Okay. Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. simultaneously. Asino duram vrajati, sayano yati sarvataha. He is sleeping here, but he is everywhere. Okay? He is standing in place, but he is running everywhere. So those contradictory characteristics are present. And they should be from the Vedas, not some guy loitering around somewhere and saying something. No, they should be in the Apaurusheya Veda. Katha Upanishad is what? Krishna Yajurveda. They come from the Vedas. And this concept of contradictory characteristics present simultaneously in exalted sentient beings should increase our understanding of the greatness of that sentient being, okay, not pull them down. So when you look at Narayana, it is, without going into the details of it, it's called Nirapeksha Achintya Adbhuta Shakti, independent. And he is simultaneously everywhere and he is the same everywhere. Okay. So there are all those kind of concepts. That's called Nirapeksha Achintya Adbhuta Shakti. So that is also resolved. Whereas everybody else who are dependent, Tattvabhimani Devatas, Sapeksha Achintya Adbhuta Shakti. So for Lakshmi, there is a slight difference. For Chaturmukha Brahma, there is a slight difference. There is Chaturmukha, of course, doesn't take any avatars, but Vayu takes 3 avatars. Okay. Vayu and Chaturmukha, they don't have any difference. So these guys are fairly similar, but there are some subtle differences which we don't want to go in. But apart from them, the ones that are outside what is called Parashukla-trayas, there are differences. If you look at Indra, who comes down as Arjuna, he may come down as an Arjuna, but he still may be as an Indra in the Indra Loka. But this Arjuna, the moment he realizes that he is Indra, then he has to go back. So there are all those kind of subtle differences. So try and do some research work on what is Nirapeksha Achintya Adbhuta Shakti and Sapeksha Achintya Adbhuta Shakti. So the idea there is these guys have really, really unimaginable powers that you and I can't even comprehend. That is why it is called Achintya Adbhuta Shakti. Okay. So how they are doing it, what is that Achintya Adbhuta Shakti? By definition, we can't describe it. We can only say that is beyond our comprehension. And that is one of the Shraddha that we have. Because that things that beyond our perceptions, things beyond our capacities also exist out there. And that is what Keno Upanishad says. First take that most of us know only 0.0000 whatever % of knowledge that is out there. And as you know, I think Sudarshan may know this in Thirukural, right? Sudarshan, Kattradu Kaimannalavu, Kallaladu, Avvayar. That's right. Kattradu Kaimannalavu, Kallaladu,
Kalladadu Ulagalavu. Yeah.
Ulagalavu. So what you know is only handful, but what you don't know is like this whole earth. Okay? Avijnatam vijanatam, vijnatam avijanatam, Keno Upanishad. He who knows that he does not know really knows. Okay? So that should be our approach here. So these Tattvabhimani Devatas have great Achintya Adbhuta Shakti, and so like Lakshmi and Narayana, and they come down and they do things as a service to Lakshmi and Narayana, and in the process they also, we understand the philosophies that is described about these Devatas in our Puranas, and then we make our philosophical progress. Some people may like these Devatas are aliens, yeah, that the aliens visiting Earth. These avatars could be aliens visiting Earth, and there is empty number of information out there which is quite interesting. Yeah, aliens exist and could be here on Earth. They walk among us. 1 in 5 believe in aliens. Okay, could invisible aliens really exist amongst us? An astrobiologist explains. So all these kind of articles that are out there, check it out, because this is now in contemporary science that these are all being these are all being entertained. That higher beings, higher intelligence are visiting Earth, we don't even know. They may be in the human form. We don't even know that they are in the human form. Okay? That's fine. Our Itihasas have documented this long time ago. Our Vedas document that there's higher sentient beings, they come and they do good things for us. Okay. This guy in Stanford says aliens are 100% living among us. So think about these things and try and link it up with avatars if you like those contemporary sciences. Some folks want to link spirituality and science. I would recommend not to do this. Science is physics, philosophy is metaphysics. Keep them separate, but if keeping them together makes you inspired and make philosophy interesting, that's fine. Okay? There is also the science of holography. I just wanted to bring this idea here, and how can somebody be in Indraloka and at the same time being here? There is another one that, and I think Pratibhaji mentioned about lighting a lamp and being in different places. Similar kind of idea. You can carry a mobile phone. There are millions of people carrying mobile phone. There may be some central place where it is being broadcasted. We are all seeing it. Hologram, science of holography, similar kind of ideas that somebody may be somewhere else, but still can be here and do stuff. Yeah. Think about those alien concepts, science of holography. If you put that, you know, our avatars of Tattvabhimani Devatas is not actually a crazy thing. So that is what Angirasa has told us so far. Tasmacha devaha bahuda samprasutaha sadhyaha manushyaha pashavo vayamsi. Okay, so this has taken us 2 weeks to pick up these 2 lines. And the next session we'll do prana, apano, brihi, yavau, tapashcha, shraddham, satyam, brahmacharyam, vidishcha. That is for us. Pindandas of holding the sadhana sharira. What else has this Paramatma done for us? We've got this Pindanda, right? He's created so many other things for us to, you know, make progress. So we will pick this up, the second half of this verse in the next session. I am unable to do the next Sunday for a session, but we will try and work out. I'm just suggesting, I don't know if Anandji is in the call. Anand, are you there? So I think Anand had very briefly signed in. So I am not available next Sunday, but I'm just thinking whether we could try and do a Vedanta quiz that was conducted last week in our retreat. It was quite an amazing Vedanta quiz. It's almost like a revision of all the Upanishads that we are doing. And maybe if Anand is available, he could do a Vedantic quiz sessions for all of us. I am not around for next Sunday. And then the following Sunday, we have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful part B of chapter 3. And we got Keshavrao Tadpatri, who is going to be giving us an expert commentary also on Karma Yoga. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that will be on the 4th of June, I think. Harish, do you want to come in and give us a little bit of update on that?
It will be the 2nd of June. Next week after will be 2nd of June. Madhu.
2nd of June, you're right. Yeah, 2nd of June, I think. So that may be the Gita after that. And then following that, we'll pick up this Prana, Apano, Brihi, Yavau, Tapashcha, Shraddha, Satyam, Brahmacharyam, Vidishta, and then make progress. The following verse is amazing. It talks only about sevens. Then the philosophy of 7 comes in the next verse, the various sevens that exist out there in Pindanda. And then we'll hopefully close the Pratama Kandaha and make our onward journey. Okay, so as we all appreciate, Mundaka Upanishad is an amazing Upanishad. There's so much of ideas and knowledge compacted in it. So we are making very, very slow progress. But so be it. Let's do it in our own place as how Paramatma takes us. Okay. So on that note, I'm going to close today's session unless any of us have any pressing topics to discuss. Right. Okay. Fantastic. Sudarshan, do you want to do Omkara and then we close today's session?
Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sudarshan. And thank you everyone for joining another interactive session. So see you all hopefully next week and the following. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Stay safe.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Thank you.